Great. All right. This is what our fifth introduction now. So good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. This is our API Shrimp Farmer Seminar for India. Our focus today is going to be on maximizing profits for farmers. This is actually our second session that we've been doing for India. We've had a couple other successful ones as well. So we've really been noticing that the farmers in particular are getting a lot of benefit from this. And we're really happy that all this information is being spread throughout the value chain. A couple of housekeeping notes before we really get into it. Please stay on mute. We have the questions that you all supplied and asked when signing up. So we will address those at the end of the presentation. If you do have something that comes up that you would like some clarification on, you can put that in the chat and we'll be sure to read it once we get to that section of the presentation. We just want to make sure that our speakers get enough time to go over their material and we're not cutting into that. Like I said, this will go on about 2 hours. This is our second time in India, and this is a really great opportunity for us to share all this experience that we're learning, not only in India, but we have a representative from Indonesia here. We have Vijay in Belize. Barry is in Indonesia as well. There are a lot of people who are attending this from all over Asia. So it's good to get those different perspectives and opinions for all this stuff, because as we all know, it's a tough time out there. So none of us are in any position to say no to any sort of assistance, and that's what we are here to provide. All right, so we will start it off. All right, all good? Okay, you guys can hear me now?
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
All right. So this is the API Shrimp Farmer Seminar for India. Our focus today is going to be on maximizing profits for farmers. This is actually our second session that we are holding for Indian farmers. The first one was very successful. This one we got even more people joining, and what we're actually seeing is a lot of people from around Asia are curious to see how the situation is in India. So we have representatives from Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, all looking at this to see what's going on here. Couple housekeeping notes before we really get into it. Please stay on mute the entire time. We have the questions and topics that you submitted when signing up. So we will address those at the end of the presentation. If something comes up in the meantime, please just write it out in your comment section or in the chat box. We will address those during that time. I just want to make sure that we give all of our speakers the proper time that they deserve to go into their topics. This will go on about 2 hours. And so people will be popping in and out, and that's totally okay. The goal for this is, of course, to spread information to the farmers and throughout the value chain, right? And the goal is to keep it growing. So with all that said, we will begin. Durga Prasad, if there's any translations that you would like to do, we can get that going now.
Yeah, I think mostly people will follow the language. It's not an issue, actually. There is no need to go for the translation. I think
Perfect.
most of the people can understand. No problem.
Perfect.
Yeah.
If that changes, of course, we can just switch it up.
Okay.
All right. So let's go. So this is our facility in Florida. I'll start off a little bit talking about API and who we are. We are, of course, a broodstock and genetics company. We're based in Florida. This is our facility, as you can see, located in Pine Island. So on site, we are able to do shrimp grow out. We have a hatchery. We have our genetics lab. We're fully self-contained and able to do every single part of this process on site, which is really, really nice. And a little bit more about our breeding program. We prioritize high survival, and then we select for growth. This is important because if you want an animal that makes it to the end of your grow out period, survival is very key for that. Our genetic diversity is how we're able to avoid inbreeding and ensures that the genetics in your animal are superior to those than you may be getting elsewhere. We want to make sure that when you guys are getting the animals on the farms, you're giving yourself the best chance for success. So while we select offspring that are well suited for your specific environment. So if you're in a low salinity environment, we can look back at our data and say, okay, we've sent this animal to a low salinity farm before, and these were the results we got. And we can say, okay, that animal did really, really well. So who was that animal's mom and who was that animal's dad? And then we can take from that same family and send you those animals. And this is all to sort of hedge your bets and give you the best shot of success and profitability when you come to the end of your harvest. We are always pre-selecting for new challenges. The market is constantly growing and evolving. And specifically when you look at disease and you look at environment and temperature, all this stuff is rapidly changing. And so we have to stay ahead of the curve on that. It's not that you can put in the genetic work for an animal one time and then boom, case is done, you have the animal for your future. You have to continue putting in the effort, you have to keep putting in the work, and that's what we are here to do. Dr. Prasad, any clarification, or are we all good?
Yeah, you can continue, Mr. Robert. There's no problem for all the highlights of the points.
All right, perfect. So this is, of course, it's brought to you by API. I only want to give you a little information on us and our current animals, and Dr. Prasad is going to help me with that on the next slide. And but I want to make sure that we save enough time for our speakers since they have a lot of really good information. So here is our most recent data, including our performance in Thailand with our API Dragon line. This is the animal that we really feel is going to be the biggest mover for us in Asia. We've seen a lot of really good results all around, specifically Thailand, Indonesia. We're seeing good results in India right now as well. And we have a lot of farmers on the call who have experience with the Dragon line or other API lines as well. So when we look at our performance in Thailand a couple months ago, it was very hot. There was a big heat wave that came through. And we saw a lot of the ponds over there, their stockings failed. However, of all the ponds that had stocked API seeds, only 2% of those ponds failed, when some others were as high as 50%. So it showed a real hardiness and survivability in this animal that really helped out a lot of farmers during that time. Temperature is something that is going to be continuously changing. So that's something to keep in the back of your head, right? This is something that matters for the growing out of my animal. And it's important that I take care and can assign value to that when I am, planning out my grow out. We also saw disease in Thailand. We've been seeing disease all over the place in Asia. India particularly has a couple of nasty diseases right now that are bothering everyone. But again, we saw that our animals were able to weather the storm, and the farmers were able to have a successful harvest after that. This is around 5 ppt salinity, stocking density from 150 to 400, and you're getting about 34 to 40 count DOC or DOC 120 days. So these are good numbers. And actually what happened in Thailand is the farmers were actually selling their 70 count shrimp to the processors for the same price as 40 count shrimp, just because the color of the animal was so different and bright red that they saw it as a high value product and they're actually getting more money for it. Now, we've talked to a couple processors in India as well. Hasn't happened there yet, but it does show that this animal is special. It's got very bright red color on it. We offer year-round availability for our stocks. We have our average farm performance data right here. Expect about 2.2 grams a week, FCR about 1.3, and an 85% survival rate. These are the numbers that we provide. We do see a lot of farmers surpass. We rarely see farmers go below. And a large part of that is because of the team we have here. Dirk Prasad, Barry, Danny in Thailand, everyone here, me, we're all here working with the farmers to make sure that they get the best possible output at the end of their harvest. And that is all I have on that slide. So we are going to. So here's a little chart on India right now, just our simple observations, right? East Coast, we're seeing about 90% Vaname. Diseases, we're seeing WSSV, white fecal, EHP. This stuff is common. You guys know this stuff. Low salinity to high salinity, freshwater. The East Coast, of course, that's where AP is. Big shrimp processing facility over there. And then the West Coast, you're going to see a lot more tiger farms, but they are also dealing with white fecal and WSSV. And of course, we have our water stats there, borehole water and brackish water as well. Dirk Prasad, is there anything else you wanted to add on top of this slide?
Yeah, fine. Actually, the major culture is prevailing in Andhra Pradesh is freshwater majorly. That is from 0 to 5 is around 70% of the culture is been existed. This is, but out of the things, maximum that white fecal is facing the severe problem apart from the WSSV, the white spot. Those are the main concern about in Andhra Pradesh culture. That's
Great.
all.
Great. Yeah, and so the reason we show this slide, basic information on here, right? But the important thing to take away is, as a farmer, you have to understand your situation and your environment. You have to be doing things that work best for your ponds and your animals. So knowing the general state of the union, right, in your areas, that's an easy way to keep track and say, okay, I'm hearing this over here. Maybe I can apply that to my own uses. That's what we're trying to show with this slide. And that is all we have for API. And now I'm very happy to bring in our guest lecturers, Vijaya Kumar Kalapalli and Gary Geelong. Both of these guys have experience with API animals. And I'm very excited to hear what they have to say. And I believe we are going to start with Gary.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Good morning or good day, everyone. Right. My name is Gary. I'm coming from Indonesia. I have various experience with API, mostly on the high figures, and also have a few experience with the dragons. But what I would like to present to you today is about the harvest strategy, how I optimize the profitability in my farm and also in some of other farm manage. But before we go to the harvest strategy, I would like you to check very thoroughly on this pyramid, because there is no harvest strategy. Hold the pyramid stuff from the fundamentals. In the beginning of the presentation, the slides, you can see that the red zone area, the area where you cannot.
Sorry, Gary, you're breaking up a little bit for me.
Meet the space. Can you hear me, everybody? Now?
It's coming in a little bit clearer. It's a little choppy.
I think I need to use my headset. Let's try doing with my headset. Okay. Let me set up this first.
Sounding better now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about now? Is it clearer now?
Sounds good.
Okay, good. Okay. Let's start with the fundamentals, right? The first fundamentals that we need to put a lot of attention is the best water condition. You have to understand really well your environment conditions. The proxy is the best water. Of course, the better best water condition will give you more easiness to manage your farm, and also will reduce a lot of costs that you have to put into your ponds. Some of farmers in Indonesia say you can buy any construction, you can buy any infrastructures, right? But you cannot buy your best water condition. But it's very important to understand. Some of the area has already best water condition already positive of like EMS, HPND. Some area already positive with the IMNV and also EHP. Of course, this kind of area will drive you to have more detail of strategy in terms of density and the way you manage your ponds, and also how you what product do you want to put on your ponds. So choosing the right genetics also somehow really related to your best water conditions. For examples, if you have like what fecal disease endemic on your area, I think it's much better using the Dragon API compared to high figures. But if you
Okay, Gary, we lost you there.
and white spot, maybe ASPND, of course, it's better to use what fecal disease.
Sorry, Gary, you cut out there maybe 30 seconds ago. Would you mind repeating that last point when you come back? If not, what else the other thing we can do is we can move forward to VJ's presentation and so you get a little bit better service.
Hello,
Right.
hello.
Hey, Gary.
Maybe,
I'm
hi Gary,
yeah.
maybe you can turn off the video maybe because the internet.
Okay. Let's check.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah,
So you
it's
can
better
continue.
now?
You can, yeah, it's better now, and then you can repeat that 30-second what you talk like a
Okay.
white fecal.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have white fecal endemic in your area, for examples, that you better use the Dragon compared to the high figures, right? But if your area is a massive ASPND, IMNP, right, but no white fecal disease, I think high figure will play better roles because it will give you better profitability in my case, right? So understand your best water condition is very important. That's the first thing. Second one, the ponds constructions. Pond construction is very important, right? You cannot just, you want to stock maybe 200, 150 KLs per square meters, 200, maybe 300s, and uh, depend on what your strategy. But without the ponds construction, good pond construction, forget it, right? It's really related to how you centralize your sludge and also how you manage your stability in the ponds. The third one is infrastructures, right? Remember, your carrying capacity is determined by your weakest link is not the strongest one. So understand the infrastructures. For example, you only have maybe two pedal wheels or four pedal wheels. It's impossible to stock on very high density, right? So understand the infrastructures, understand your pump, your electricity, and also your pedal wheel and this kind of things. So infrastructure is playing very important. And the fourth one is the healthy PL. Make sure you have the SPF and SPR PLs. Without the healthy PLs, it's almost impossible to manage a good crop, right? So you need to buy the very good genetic from the very good hatcheries. Make sure you do the PCRs prior your stocking, and also check also the water quality in your hatchery, and spot on some of the anomaly on your hatcheries, maybe the Fibrios or maybe the protozoa and those kind of things, right? Do the scoring with your strategy. So avoid that you buy, do some blind purchasing of your PLs. It's going to be very risky, right? The number five is the manpowers. You guys must have very good manpowers. Without good manpowers, there is no good management area, right? If you don't have these five fundamentals, the crop will be very challenging, leading to lower productivity and high risk of loss, right? So these five of fundamentals will make you to be in the area of the green, right? The crop will be in a safe quadrant. I don't say the profit will be fantastic, but you will be on the safe quadrants. If you couldn't meet one of or two of fundamentals, you need to revisit your strategy. Maybe you want to put some investment on your capex to do the filtration of your best water condition, or you lower your stocking density, or you choose a stronger genetic like high figure, or if you have everything, you can go with Dragon, or maybe you can go with the Kong or Turbo. right? It depends on your fundamentals. So understand your fundamentals and do and redo it every single crop, because there is a depreciation on your assets, degradation of your best waters, and also the batch on the hatchery also changing. The motivation of your manpower also maybe getting lower. So you have to challenge yourself on fundamental every single crop, right? If you meet your fundamentals, right, we can do a good SOP, right? Why the SOP is not on the fundamentals? Since there is no silver bullet in your in these farming activities, I can accept to say there is no specific SOP, right? Your SOP may work on your place, but may not work in other places, right? We have to adjust, right? But if you meet your fundamental with a good SOP and do some efficiency on the FCR, electricity and manpower, right? I believe that you will get better profitability. If you want to invest on some additional nutrition like probiotic, chelated minerals, antioxidant, acidifier, or anything, any product you have, right? You will achieve fantastic crop yields. That's very important. If you meet the first pyramid, second level pyramid, then we can talk about the harvest strategy. You cannot talk about the harvest strategy if you're still firefighting with your mortality. You are still firefighting with your growth, ADG, and you are firefighting with your manpowers. Every day you need to think about your infrastructures. You don't have the good SOP. You need to think about your electricity costs. You don't have good harvest strategy. Don't ever think about it, right? But the optimum profit, we can apply a good harvest strategy, right? It will give you an edge on the bottom line or profitability. That's what my pyramid should tell you. Can we go to the next slide, Robert? Okay, let's talk about the real case on farm in Indonesia. But this harvest strategy comparison, right, can only be achieved when the fundamentals are met, right? Don't think about this if your fundamentals are not met. The comparison below is an actual example of how the same farm using two different harvest strategy can achieve different profitability. I normalize the price to avoid bias between the two crop periods because price keep changing, right? But if I normalize the price using the same price, below is the comparisons. We stock the same PLs, 2 million PLs, right, between crop 1 and crop 2. And the FCR in crop 1 is 1.75. Yes, it's high, right? Let's see the comparisons. And the crop 2, 1.51. Crop 2 has a better FCR. In terms of the survival rate, right, crop 1 achieved 92%, and crop 2, 99.93%. Yes, crop 2 has a better survival rate. In terms of average body weight and size, also, you can see on the chart, crop 2 has a better body weight and also the size. Can you click once, Robert? Right, technically, crop number 1 had worse performance compared to crop number 2. It had lower survival rate, higher FCR, and smaller average body weight or size. But can you go to the next slide? Let's see let's see the harvest result. You can see the harvest in terms of the kilograms, right, from the partial 1 to partial 3 and final harvest. Crop 1 has higher kilograms, right, biomass by the end of the crop, because it doesn't have the partial 3, right? We skip into the final harvest. So when we manage more population compared to crop 2. In terms of harvest price, right, the crop number 1 has a better average price because they start to harvest since for the partial 1 up to partial 2 with the bigger shrimp. But since the population of the crop 2 is lower compared to crop 1, in the final harvest, right, crop 2 has a bigger stream, and it has a better price. But average price from throughout the crop one has a better average price. So average price is very important. It will determine your unit margin compared to your production cost. In terms of the revenue, I put revenue is in million rupiah, right? Total revenue from crop one is higher than crop two, even though crop two has a higher survival rate and better FCR. Right? Can you click once, Robert? Okay. This is the harvest strategy comparison set. The key financial indicators. Total revenue, crop one has a better. Total feed cost, crop one had worse because yes, it's a worse FCR, right? And total other production cost also crop one has higher. And your production cost, our production cost total significantly higher on the crop one. But let's see on the operating income. Operating income, crop one produce higher than crop two. Can you click once, Robert? Okay, so this is the financial gap between crop one and crop two. Revenue, crop one has higher by 419 million rupiah. Feed cost, crop one higher 278 million. And the rest of production cost, 27 million higher. And the total production cost is higher by 305 million rupiah. Yet, the EBITDA or the operating income higher in the crop one. Financially, despite the crop one having worse technical indicators, it achieved better result on the bottom line. It's up to you. I put back the decision to you, right? To decide which strategy suits you best. Assess your fundamental aspect of your farm, and choosing the optimal harvest strategy will yield you the best result for your farm. If you choose to have to put your farm performance from the point of view of the technical, there is no hurt on that. It's up to you, right? But for me, I'm not coming from the technical guys. I'm the finance guys. The key is the profitability. I will choose the crop number one with the strategy crop number one. I'm okay with the lower survival rate. I'm okay with the higher FCR. As long as it produces better operating margin. It means your profitability. So the harvest strategy is very important. If you want to play safe, you want to have the better survival rate, better FCR, you go with a lot of partial harvest. You will lock your SR and FCR on a very good level, right? But you may lose your money. I don't say you will lose. You still in the profit, but maybe you will lose your optimum profit. Okay, right, Robert? I think that's all my slides.
Very, very nice, Gary. Thank you very much for your information.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
informative. It's important to understand these numbers. Obviously, when the margins are so thin right now, you got to be doing what's best, and finding these hidden profitabilities is how you do it. So thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
Okay, and now we will move on. And now we will move on to Vijay and his presentation.
Good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Vijay Kumar Kallepalli. I'm basically from India. Presently, I'm working in Central America, Belize country. I'm working. So it's generally it's sharing with you regarding the culture practices and what is the profitability and how we will get the best profitability with the culture practices. Because I generally believe in one thing, sir. Seed is the most priority for every crop. That SPF seed, good quality seed without any pathogens like WSSV pathogen, EHP pathogens or something. But out of that, the second one is nutritionally, it is more important. But nowadays in the world, the new feed companies are better performing with the nutritional resets and everything. But my concern with good seeds, with good feeds, so many farmers are still struggling to get more profitables. Or some people are losing, some people are average, they have some nominal profits. The basic thing what we have to understand, the the main this one is soil is our main concern. Particularly, I'm talking about Indian farming practices. Majority of our Indian shrimp farms are constructed on earthen ponds, and most of the earthen ponds are more than 10 years old and more than 15 years old. We call as aged ponds. So for this, I would like to introduction. My concern, water quality is the very key concern for the aquaculture profitability. Besides the good quality seed and good balanced diet nutrition. So that's why I'm talking about what is aquaculture. In my point of view, you're culturing your water. If your water culture is good, you can grow either shrimp, fish, whatever it is. That the aquatic animal need a proper water, good water quality to for better growth and survival. Next slide, sir. So here I would like to introduction a small story. It's a shrimp story, winner or loser. Here, my point of view, farmer is a producer and the farm manager or supervisor or whoever is giving some consultancy is the director. Under his direction, the farm goes, the everything goes under a particularly farm manager. So I can say it is a director of the farm or the director of this farming. So here our hero is shrimp is our hero. According to my point of view, the water quality is his girlfriend. So there is a clean relation between shrimp and water. Particularly, I'm trying to say, without water quality, the hero performance may not much good. So every movie you can see that there is a hero heroines. Now the coming next point, growth and survivals are the harvest, and harvest is the climax. The climax, how the climax, either sad or bad or good, that depends on between the hero and the water quality. That means hero and the heroine. That means shrimp and water quality. So for here, the shrimps has a good relatives like feed and algae. The very good friends are oxygen, pH. And here for aquaculture, the main culprit or villain is sludge. So sludge is the main villain, and they have some supporting villains like temperatures, sudden ranges in the temperatures, rain, cyclones. These are the side villains. And the key killers from the villain is mostly ammonia and hydrogen sulfide is the professional killers. So these are all we have. The shrimp is always, the hero is always facing these issues in the system to control himself and for the growth and survival. So he has the only some weapons like water exchange and avoiding feed inputs and excess feed. This is all we have to manage. So this entire movie will be read by the farm manager, that is the director. At the end, if you have a good results, the farmer is the producer will be win, or the farmer will be lose. Next slide, sir. This is a small story, sir. Not much. Don't take it as this thing. So this is our pond, sir. Actually, everybody can understand. So we are once we stock the seed, particularly I'm talking about once you stock the seed, either from any hatchery, other any brood. Once we stock the seed, we cannot change any genetically or any other things we cannot modify in the seeds. So the way how we have to maintain the situation to means we have to create a stress-free environmental in your system. That is the most important pattern, because feed is the main key role for the entire pond water quality influenced by the feed. So once you are adding the feed, definitely there is a lot of other byproducts will be generated through decomposition and other parts. So Most of the things from the feed is in a organic protein, organic nitrogen, and organic carbon. In the decomposition process by the different kind of bacteria, they decompose the feed and other organic matters into ammonia and carbon dioxide. This ammonia and carbon dioxide directly influence your phytoplankton because it's a phytoplankton has nutrient of ammonium and the carbon dioxide to grow. So according to your feeding pattern and according to your this thing, the phytoplankton growth will be going very, very high rapidly. And most of our practices are, we are applying lot of probiotics nowadays. Everybody is telling that we are applying probiotics weekly basis. We are applying probiotic like this, and we're applying some organic carbons and all. But the fundamental practice that what we have to understand, any heterotrophic bacteria can, the main function is to break down, decompose the organic matter into byproducts are ammonia and carbon dioxide. These are directly influence our phytoplanktons. Once your probiotic ratios are increasing, automatically your phytoplankton blooms will be developed rapidly. And at the end of 35 to 45 days, you can see the high plankton blooms. And definitely there is a sudden algal crash will happens. And with the aeration, with algal crash happens, what happens? In the bottom, we have an anaerobic zones will be formation in the ponds. It's different zones, mainly particularly center of the pond. If you can take the center of the pond, there is a high anaerobic zone will be formation. So what happens after this anaerobic zone formation? Some other kind of bacteria takes the different fermentation process, that is anaerobic decomposition process. In this anaerobic decomposition, that means we can fermentation process. There they can release some kind of toxins like sulfites, methanes, and other metabolites. So these are directly influence your animal growth and animal survival. So here the major concern what we have to understand for any practice of aquaculture, mainly for shrimp farming, there is two concerns we have to understand. One is growth, one is survival. This decides your profitability. Because if there is a growth is there and no survival means you are losing. If the growth is less and survival is high, you are losing your profits. So we have to balance all this situation means we have to maintain your pond in a right balanced thing. That means you have to maintain plankton bloom is the major concern for your success. Mainly I'm talking about the open earthen ponds or liner ponds. Plankton is the major, that's why we called it's a plankton is the primary production. If the primary production is very high, your secondary production will be decreased. That secondary production means either shrimp production or fish production or the crab production, whatever it is there, that's completely influenced by your primary production. So this is how we have to understand. We always keep balanced parameters like pH is the major concern. And the second one is the dissolved oxygen. And the third one is alkalinity. And the fourth one is ORP. But generally 99% people does not bother about ORP, and even they don't know what is the ORP and all. Because nowadays we are stocking our ponds, and before stocking we are checking all our parameters. Even before stocking, our ORPs are always negative side, like -22, -30, -40, like that. That means already your ponds has some oxidation reduction potential going into the negative side. That means your culture might be effective after excess after high quantity of feeding inputs and sudden algal crashes. Your system will be completely collapsed. At that time, your ORP coming back, going to -100, -200, like that. So the stocking densities are very key important, particularly when you are going for a planning for a particular scenario. What I'm trying to say, the stocking densities is always depends on your facilities and your pond age and your water quality. I mean, source water quality and everything. Based on that, we have to decide our stocking density. Not in a blind way, we should not go for a stocking densities. Suppose if the pond size is bigger than 1 hectare, definitely you cannot go bigger numbers because you cannot control your sludge, you cannot control your phytoplankton, and you cannot control your other factors. So when the size of the pond and the age of the pond, everything we have to consider. Based on that, we have to decide our stocking densities. This is the very key important for the profitable farming. Because without knowing our pond carrying capacity, like suppose if its age is more than 20 years old age, and most of the farmers are not properly designing for the pond preparation practice, let's drying, tilling, and whatever it is, just they harvest the pond and they just remove some top layer of the soil, and immediately they can pull the water. But unfortunately, there is a lot of things behind the soil is happening in every crop. Each crop we have some humus formation in the bottom side of the below the main soils. So once you are pumping the water, the pores will be opened again, the humus will comes into your system, and your ORP will be getting negative side after before or after immediate stopping your ORP getting negative sides. So these are all factors we have to conclude that your stocking density, sir, depends on your size of the pond and the facilities. What we have the facilities. Next slide, sir. So here the simple the success versus proper profit theory we have to take this. Most of everybody knows what is the ADC, the key role of ADC, average daily growth. Suppose if average daily growth, some farmers getting 0.18, definitely it is a success. But if you can try to make it the ADs into 0.24, that is the profit. The difference is just only 0.06, but the profit is huge. Because once the ADC means, if you get 0.24 ADC means your days of culture will be decreasing and your profit will be increasing as the AD is increasing. But the ADC can depends on your 100% of your water quality, sir. Next one, sir. So now I'm coming to the major things, FCR. Most of the farmers survival is the both FCR is just nothing but survival and growth. If the survival is good and the growth is good, yeah, your FCRs will be like 1.1 to 1.1, 1.3 like that. But any of these conditions, the survival or growth or any of these two can influence, definitely your FCR will be high. That means your feed quantity will be high because feed is the major concern for our major expenditure for our culture practice. That's like 45 to 50% input cost goes to the feed. So if the feed goes very high, means FCR is very high, means you are losing your profit. I can say it is a success, but you are losing your profit. Nowadays, last 3 months, everybody is suffering with the prices. Even 100 count 190 rupees in India, 200 rupees. Like now, just it is increasing to 230, 240. That is, we cannot say 100 every time we have the same prices, but we have to design our practices to go for a nominal profit, nominal FCRs we have to plan. Particularly when you harvest your shrimp at 10 grams, your FCR should be either 1 or less. According to that, we have to design our farming practices. Next one, sir. So the water quality is the major concerns. How the water quality will be influenced by these are the major things water quality will be influenced. First one is feeding. And the second one is fecal matter. The third one is plankton. So all together we can call it as a sludge. Then the feed will be wasted, when fecal matter will be high and the plankton, dead plankton will be high, there is an organic loads will formation. Organic loads becomes decomposed by the bacteria and the final output will be the sludge. When the sludge is accumulation more on the pond bottom, you are losing the oxidation layers in your pond bottom. When you are losing your oxidation layers in the pond bottom means there is a separate different proforma will be happens in the pond bottom, and lot of other some kind of bacteria can activate, and some kind of microorganisms activate. They are releasing some kind of different kind of metabolites, like already we discussed hydrogen sulfide, methane, and carbon dioxide and all. So what happens, how these things will happen once anaerobic zone formation, that according to the sludge age, they take the sulfates, they take the carbon dioxide, and they take the nitrates as an electron acceptors. That means they take oxygen from these three sulfates and nitrates and nitrate and carbon dioxide. So once they take the oxygen, that immediately they release the byproducts like sulfur, nitrogen, carbon, and these are things will happens. But already your that particular area, there is no oxidation zone, means definitely there is a hydrogen ion is readily available due to mineral acidity. So there's a lot of hydrogen ion available at the pond nearest the surface pond bottom area. They immediately interact with the hydrogen ion instead of oxygen. So immediately what happened, the sulfur interacts with hydrogen, become hydrogen sulfide. The again nitrogen again interact with hydrogen and become an ammonia, and carbon become immediately interact with hydrogen, become a methane. So these are all again metabolites, and these instead of this, the ammonia and the hydrogen sulfide is the more dangerous situation, and immediately you are losing your animal survival. Particularly hydrogen sulfide kills your animal without our knowledge. You cannot see the mortality rate with the hydrogen sulfide. That happens after 45 to 50 days. Your system getting more worst and worst. Next one, sir. So just you imagine, our aquaculture is just nothing but 90 to 120 days culture. That means 2,160 hours to 2,088 hours. So these days, how we have to balance our system, that is the most important, because nobody is concerned about our pond situations, our pond conditions. But generally, what our practices is, it's a blind stocking densities we are following in India, and the blind protocols we are following in India. That is the most, I mean, what you say, it's not in a right way we are doing our practice in India nowadays. Because I came from India, because I'm working with the hemp industry since 1993. I worked in different geographical locations in India, like Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Odisha. So everywhere you are seeing the practices. We have only one practices, 1 acre. We are going with 30 pieces, 30 pieces. That's it. We don't know what is our pond condition. We don't know what is our pond days. We don't know what is our pond carrying capacity. But our thing is just we have pond, we have water, we have seeds, we have feeds. That's it. So according to that, we are going blindly. We are take a decisions on the stocking densities, because stocking densities are the most important according to your pond conditions. That is, everybody should understand this scenario, sir. Next one, sir. So now many farmers targeting now India. Most of the farms are either 1 or 2 cycles we are doing. But if you want to raise your cycles and we have to raise your profits, definitely we need a 3 crops a year slogan now is going on. In these cases, we have to design our works is the most important. How we are cleaning the ponds, how we repair the things, or how we are treatment the things. And between the crops, how we should reduce the time lapses. And most of the time, prefer your stockings, your culture is between 90 to 100 days is the ideal to reach at least 20 grams. So according to if you want to reach this 20 grams within the 90 days, you have to plan your stocking density, and you have to save your survival. You have to make your growth is better. That is the most important. Either if you go for 120 days, you must plan to 25 to 30 grams. But if you stock more than without your pond carrying capacity, you cannot reach these growths within 120 days. You cannot reach 20 to 30 grams. If you stock 30 pieces, 40 pieces with 1 acre land without any stream toilet, without any proper pond preparation. So this, how we have to make profit means you have to make your pond understand your stocking density should be moderate. I'm not trying to say it's don't reduce the stocking density. You have to understand your stocking density according to your pond carrying capacity. If you have good stream toilet system, if you have good pumping capacity, if you have good reservoirs, if you have good sedimentations, so definitely we can achieve these particular time frame. Suppose 90 days, you can achieve 18 grams. That means it's 0.2 grams ADC. If you can achieve 120 days, 30 grams, that means right like 0.2, 0.2 to 0.24 grams. So according to that, we have to design our plan and we have to make one more extra crop means you will get more, your other things will be considered, like your lease cost will be controlled. If you can do more crops, your lease cost will be minimized. Then your production capacity will be increased and your profit will be increases. And some for the better things, we are offering the nursery systems and mature water treatment tanks, because the matured water treatment means always you have some good matured water. That means that matured water has highly natural feed availability for the initial days, so we can save the time for the stockings. Next ones. So for aquaculture, I believe in one thing, sir. This minute is mine. The next minute, I don't know what has happened in our things. So every crop is a new crop for us, and time management is very, very important. And mainly, we have to fight against the sludge. That is the main concern about the thing, because everybody is saying that my pond does not have sludge. My pond does not have ammonia. My pond does not have hydrogen sulfide. But whatever you take this thing, whatever your problem is there, the culprit is sludge. Because when the plankton develops, definitely within hours, the plankton getting reproduction and it'll get die, and the new plankton will come, and that old one will get die and reaches the bottom. That means it's in an organic carbon or organic protein. Again, it's become like an organic matter that should be decomposed. The dead plankton, dead animal, feed, fecal matter, whatever it is there into the system should be decomposed by the bacteria. The bacteria should decompose the things. Organic matter means definitely there is a byproduct is inorganic byproduct is nitrogen and carbon dioxide. That means ammonia and carbon dioxide. So when your pond has proper pH like 7.8 to 8, between the 8 the pH is there, your ammonia will be still remain as an ammonia. But if your pH goes to 8.2, 8 it's become like an unionized ammonia, like it is in a gas. It's not a nutrient. So automatically your shrimps get die with ammonia. And moreover, between the mainly particularly during the mid of the day, ammonia, the transpiration between the ammonium and ammonia is very slight time that become changes like ammonia to ammonia, ammonia to back to ammonia like this. So that is the midday mutters, what we call this midday mutters. Because when you, without any doing, just you keep water and you just don't do any culture, after 30 days, you observe your pond bottom has a thick layer of sludge, a thick layer of organic loss. It's a universal fundamental thing that is happens in whenever you put the water, the fundamental thing will happens immediately. So once the algae develops and crash out, you can see after 1 week, you can see the white fecal issues, you can see the white muzzle issues, and you have see the animal stress conditions. Sometimes you can observe the pink shrimp with dioxide mortality and all, because this all happens with the stress factors leads by the sludge. Next one, sir. Next one, sir. So next one, sir. The first slides we have some. Next one, sir.
So those were all the slides that you sent me, BJ.
Yeah,
Which
I
I think a lot of really good information there. Really well articulated, very, very nice.
Yeah.
The next thing that I had was the questions. If you want a finishing thought, go for it.
Yes, sir. We can go with the question and from the audience.
Okay. All right. So this is the part of the program where when you all registered, I asked you all to sign up and give us questions and topics that you wanted us to address. And I think we were able to address a lot of those during the presentation. These were, however, the most prevalent ones with your guys' feedback. And so we separated into broodstock and genetics and farming practices. Durga Prasad, you're going to help me out with these broodstock and genetics questions, so we can start there. The first one, how does improving genetics giving me better pond results? I think I can handle this one for us, but genetics is obviously very key when you're going through this whole process. It's one of the main pillars of having a successful harvest, right? You want good genetics, good feed, and good water. As long as you have a good combination of all three of those, but you cannot do without one or two of those. It's got to be a combination. So genetics plays a very key part in that, specifically when you're choosing an animal that is built for survival. That's what API is offering, and that's what we're seeing a lot of good results with right now. Durga Prasad, do you have anything to add on that? I can't really see if he's here, but I assume he is. And since it's not talking, we will move on. The API line, which is better to stock during rainy season. Like we said, we've been pushing the Dragon line. We've been seeing a lot of success with that throughout Asia. So that is the line that we really feel, whether it's rainy, whether it's hot, this is the animal that has shown the ability to weather the storm. Very strong animal, and I think that our data and statistics back that up. Where is API available in India? We have a couple hatcheries that we're working with. Manjunata is one of them, and I want to make sure get everyone in here. But we do have seeds available in India. Just reach out to either me or Durga Prasad, and we'll be very happy to direct you in the right direction. And of course, pretty common prevalent thought right now, API against diseases. For that, we will say we will never be able to guarantee 100% immunity. No one will be able to. But what I will say is API, we do have the track record, and we are, testing our animals in these ponds, right? We want to see and we want to get that data. And what we're seeing out there is good results. So disease, it's very hard to prevent. Obviously, you're looking at a lot of biosecurity with that. When you're getting the seeds from API delivered to India, it's going to come without disease, of course. But what we're seeing down to the farm level is still successful harvests, even if they are facing disease. And so that's what I'll note on that for our broodstock and genetics. And now for farming practices, or if Gary or Vijay, if you have something else that you'd like to add on with the broodstock and genetics points, please feel free. Do you have anything?
Robert, let me add something for which API line is better to stock during rainy season, right? Because a rainy season give the impact differently in any other area. For examples that in area that we have very high rain, right? So when we talk about the rainy season, it means that we have a rainy day every day for the next 10 days, right? So The problem when you have rainy season is your parameters will change. That's the first thing. The second is the temperature will drop, right? So to compensate this with the better growth, I think I agree with you to use Dragon during the rainy season. Because if you use the high figures, some of the growth will be lower, and the risk of the overfeeding would happen, and it will poison your water. But Dragon, based on my experience, could cope on the rainy seasons. That's the first one. Even though low temperatures, they still want to eat. Yes, not as high as the sunny day, but it still produce ADG below the standard. So I agree with you. Dragon will be better on the rainy season.
Great points, Gary.
Yeah.
No, thank you for that. Thank you for the addition. How about we move over to or I guess Vijay, did you have anything you wanted to tack on top of that for broodstock and genetics? Just general thoughts?
Generally, the rainy season or summer season, whatever it is, mainly particularly rainy season, the three things we have to consider. The one is mineral profiles. The second one is alkalinity, and the third one is pH. So these are the major three things we have to see in the lower side. Suddenly we have high rainfall effects. So in the particular stages, we need in a strong animals to sustain with this thing to survive with sudden fluctuations in the parameters. Now we are facing the high rain effects in bellies. Almost we stocked 24 to 25 days back. We stocked, but before rainy we have the salinity like 32. And after rain, it comes down to 26. Just 6 ppt was dropped within 24 hours. But still, our animals are performing good, and even 24 days, we achieved almost 3 grams body weight with drug, because we completely stocked all our animals with the Dragon lines. And even last crop also, we have high temperature issues and this thing. And some cases we fail to fill the water, we cannot harvest. Even 20 days, we did not feed the feed. We did not give the feed for 20 days because of there is no water to pump, there is no ice to harvest. Even though at the end of the harvest, we just maintained water without any disturbance with feed. But the animal condition was good, and we harvested A4 quality shrimps without any lucial and all. So I feel that these genetics are very strong, and they can survival even they can survive with abnormal conditions.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Vijay. So we're going to move over to the other half of it, the farming practices, right? And Vijay, we'll keep it on you. I know you mentioned this with the sludge and all that, but any other advice in handling or preventing disease from your experience?
So the main thing for the best management practices, you have to control your algae, sir. That is the major key factor we have to understand. Everybody should understand. If your algae is not in our hands, definitely you will have faced any kind of disease, any kind of system default, like white mussel, white feces, whatever it is. This all depends on your algae. So you have to maintain your algae, means you have to maintain your water quality in a right way. So for that, my suggestions, don't go more probiotics in the systems, because already any kind of water has some bacteria. That is most of the bacteria are heterotrophic bacteria, and there are some gram positive or gram negative, whatever it is. But you have to balance your microbes with nominal dosages and all. But many people are saying that if you want to control the ammonia, you have to give the probiotic. I accept it, because when you're applying the probiotics, they take the organic carbon from the feed, and the availability of ammonia, they become new cells. And that automatically the ammonia will be controlled in the short term. But again, the population increases, the probiotic population increases. What is the next step? They have to decompose the feed or organic matter. And what is the byproduct? Again, I was trying to say, again, the byproducts are ammonia and carbon dioxide. This again influence your algae. Once your algae increases, definitely there is photosynthesis rates are very high with high temperatures and high radiations. Your pH will not be in your hands. Once your pH is not your hands, definitely your system will be almost default site. If it is your fluctuation, pH fluctuation more than 0.3 means definitely your system is not in your control. Anytime you can lose your crop either in the name of survival, either in the name of growth. So you first concern, you have to understand, you have to control your algae. That is the best management practices for the best of best farming practices. Because anybody can, you can take any farmer experience in India or other countries. After algal crash, they can see the problems. Before algal crash, there is nothing will happens. Once algal crash happens, they can see the white muzzle, white feces, and some more dead animals in the trays and all. And second thing, moreover, dilution is the best solution for many practices, just like dehydration and hydration practices. Because you keep on pumping some water every day on a daily basis to dilute your systems. So automatically your systems will be diluted, your toxins will be diluted, and automatically your algae will be diluted and your pH will be in balanced system. So that this is also one key concern we have to observe, that dilution is the solution. So keep on adding some water every day basis, because most of Indian farmers, once they stock the seed, they don't want to top up the water for at least 2 to 3 weeks. After 3 weeks only, they start filling the waters. So in that case, with the high evaporation and high seepages, you are losing your pond water levels lower side, like sometimes in 4 inches or 6 inches. That means your pond water viscosity will be very high. Your ion concentrations are very high, or your plankton concentrations are very high, and there is a high chances of sudden algal crashes happens at any time. So this is the one simple practice we have to adapt for the better management practices. Keep on pumping some water, sir. That is the best idea to control your systems.
Great. Very nice. Gary, anything to add on top of that?
Yes.
Great.
I think I almost covered by PJ, but let me add something to preventing disease, right? Let's not forget, right? Regardless your pond condition, if you stop unhealthy PLs, right, it's just about time to disease to come. So please make sure you buy the strong genetics from good hatcheries. Don't be afraid to require data from the hatcheries. That's why I somehow I love working with the smaller hatcheries, because they are open to with their data, right? Start monitoring. I know you may harvest your shrimp at 20 counts, 30 counts per kilograms, but start monitoring if possible, start monitoring your shrimp since the NOPLI, and also running to the PLs as the data. Make sure that you buy the healthy PLs. That's the first thing. You will less headache if you start the monitoring. Second, I think Vijay already talked about the biosecurity. I know biosecurity is not all in our hand, but whatever that we still in our hand or in our control, please do it. Please do it. And I would like to say that don't be crazy by not doing biosecurity at all, because we don't know from which factors that the disease will come. And I understand your best water, please do, because in Indonesia right now the surveillance is getting stronger, right? We found out some of the water already positive on EHPND, EHP, and also white spot, WSSP. Right. So if you found out this kind of best water, think about what you want to do. I know you know how to do it. Maybe you want to do the filtration or multi reservoir and this kind of thing. But please do it. Understand your best water. I think that's my addition, Robert.
Yeah, gotta understand the water. It's key in this whole operation.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Gary. Thank you for that
Yes.
info. Maybe you want to help us tackle the next one, advice on shrimp feeding, an API or in general. I think we had some questions on
Okay.
fish feed charts back in the Indonesia call also.
Okay. Okay. For the stream feeding, right, in the API, I have so many strategy, but I only use the one that give me most profit, right? So the first, I think my API in Indonesia, one of the fastest growing, right? We experienced 0.3, 0.4 ADG when the size are already suitable. But the key is, right, look at what you can control on the feed. Let's say the feeding tray, right? Be very tight on the feeding tray. When your assumption of population already meet your ADG, right? Even though your feeding tray finish, right, empty within 15 minutes, never add more feed, right? Wait and until another same thing. If you still get the ADG, you feed the right amount of the feeding, right? So if the stream couldn't finish the feeding tray within the time that you determine, don't be afraid to cut your feed, right? There is no use your feed in the pond if the stream doesn't eat it. Remember, stream has a period of the pre-molting, molting, and also post-molting and intermolt. And out of 300,000 stream in our ponds, they have different periods. So there is no way. It's almost impossible that all stream have the feeding activities the same for the 300 of the stream. So it's okay if you feed less. For me, my principle is feeding less feed is not good, but it's better than feeding more feed. Right, we want to feed it in the right amount, but if you couldn't predict with the right amount, just feed less feed. We don't want to feed our stream like we want to harvest in DOC 40 to 50, right? So if you feed, if you overfeed your stream, you will harvest your stream maybe in 40 to 50 days because of the EMS, right? So look out your feeding tray, right? Find the right way to manage your feeding tray. Regardless, you feed your pond with the manual feed or automatic feeders. You need to think about it. Let's focus on the weekly ADG. If you meet the weekly ADG, meaning that you feed the right amount of feed to catch the ADG, right? So and increase the ADG slowly every week. I believe you will achieve on a marketable size in the right time. But again, like I shared on the previous seminar, Robert, if you have healthy stream, no rush to harvest, right? Because you don't know tomorrow you still have the or the next crop you still have the healthy stream. You have a healthy stream, grow it, squeeze the juice, get the money as many as possible, because I've seen so many different ways on looking at or the management of the stream, right? When the stream is healthy, they want to harvest squeeze as soon as possible. But when the stream is unhealthy, they want to hold it like forever. So be very afraid to harvest if you have the healthy stream. Squeeze the juice, focus on the profitability. I think that's my suggestion, Robert.
Great advice. Great advice, Gary. Thank you for that.
For these
BJ.
feedings, I'm trying to say the feedings, particularly the preparation of pond preparation is more important to develop a natural feed before the stockings. That means you have to maintain your water preparation. At least you have to take 3 to 4 weeks time to make your water preparation, pond water preparation. That is more advantage for any kind of brood or any kind of, in general, I am talking about. If you are maintaining 28 days of preparation, water preparation with the kind of some fermented rice bran and some things, definitely you have some natural biota like zooplankton, like copepores and other things that will help a lot in the initial stage. And after when the sludge is becoming, there is different kind of other natural food available like rotifers and nematodes and other things will happen in the generates in the systems. So the pond preparation is more important for the initial days for feeding this thing. Along with the artificial feed, natural feed also very helpful for the animal for the better growth and better immunity system. Particularly when you're talking about the copepods, they're very highly what you call it's natural diets. Copepods are natural diets and good immune system for the animals that will helps in the during the cycle periods. So the pond preparation is most important. Don't go for immediate and rush for the pond stocking, sir. Take the time to prepare, make your water get more matured. You can see the balanced algae, like you can see green algae, you can see the diatoms, you can see the copepods, you can see the other natural things. So this will help for the farmers to control your feed and you to control your FCR. And moreover, the feeding pattern, when you are going with the feeding pattern, just wait for 4 meals. Don't go immediately increase your feed, sir. Wait for 4 meals. Check the all 4 meals, either 4 meals or 5 meals, all feeds must be completed. Then you have to decide, go for with 2% or 1% increment for the next meals, not like 5%, 10%. Because excess feed is always a problem, sir. That is means you try to make your pond as a demand feeding, not the excess feeding. Excess feed definitely collapse your system within the days. Feed does not give growth, sir. It gives growth, but it should be under control. Feed only cannot give the growth. The other things, the remaining things, parameters, stress factors, these are all influence your growth, not only feed. So feeding is the major concern. So you have to plan it in a right way. Your check test should be consumed and your water has good natural biota. These are all helpful for your control your feed. So definitely you have some good FCR. Once your FCR is within the control means your profit is good. This is my suggestions.
Great.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr.
Important, right?
Ravin.
Sorry. It's important to set yourself up for success. I can't see if someone else is talking. Is there another question, Barry or Durga Prasad?
Good morning, Mr. Ravin and Jenny and other delegates. I have a small question for you. What are the genetical improvements under pipeline for in compliance with white fecal syndrome management? Why? Because in India, in Andhra Pradesh, as a major producer, we are suffering here. After 30 days, in between 30 days also, we are getting white fecal syndrome. It may be because of pond preparation or seed, something like that. So in this regard, what are the genetical improvements? May I know?
Yeah, so genetically, how we can address that, right, is we're continuing to look at the data. We're continuing to look at the data of the animals out there in the ponds right now in India in those environments. At the end of the cycle, we'll then be able to determine, okay, these animals did well, these animals did not do well, and genetically, we can improve upon the ones who already showed a natural resistance and strength to it. And so the animals that we've had there, right, we're coming up to that time where we're going to start getting really good data, and then we can really start making big improvements with this dragon line. And so I think in the next 3 months, we'll probably see another round of this data come around. And, I think we're going to see good things with it. But genetically, all we can do on our end is continue to look at that data, continue receiving it from the farmers and the hatcheries as well. And then we can make decisions on which animals are we sending to that location based off of the data we receive. And that's how we can continue to do that genetic improvement for these animals to find something that, it's not going to be completely resistant to WSSV or white faces or any of that stuff, but it will show a natural tendency to be stronger in those conditions. And that's what we're looking for with these animals. Does that address your question?
Thank you. And a small question from my side. Here, some of the lines they are performing good in good salinities, like some some about 15 to 20. When we are stocking in 4 and 5, less than 4, 5, something around like that, and the survivability is very bad. And at the time of harvest, we are facing. And one more thing is, if it is getting any white fecal or something around Vibrio or any other symptoms, a sudden mortality we are facing, sir. I think it will be a good subject to improve in the base of genetic line, as per my field knowledge. I'm sharing you. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. And thank you for bringing up the questions. It's something that we absolutely can and will address. Um, and I'm sorry, I just totally blanked right there. Yeah, the animals, when you look at the salinity, right, we're shipping animals all over Asia right now in so many different environments. High salinity, low salinity, brackish, borehole water, and all these different conditions and environments. And so even if we don't have an example of an animal in India that's doing well under mid 20s salinity PPT, right? There are animals that we have put in situations similar to that elsewhere in Asia. And so then we'll look back at that data and say, okay, this worked back then. Let's start that, use that as our starting block, and then we can build upon that. And so even if there's not a specific situation which we've addressed in country, there are likely situations that we've addressed outside of country that we can then take that information and give us a good a good base, a foundation to start a good genetic work in that area. And I do want to continue getting on to these questions, Dr. Aswani, but I do appreciate it. If anything else comes up, please just write it in the comment section. And when we finish all these questions, we'll then be able to answer everyone else's if they put it down there. I want to make sure that we
Would like to
address all
add
your
some
questions.
points according to Dr. Aswin's questions, sir. I would like to, if you don't mind.
Please.
Yeah. Generally, we can consider India's most of the Indian culture from particularly I'm talking about Andhra Pradesh. 60 to 70% culture under groundwater culture, sir, most of them. And most of the groundwater cultures has high alkalinity issues, the first thing, and heavy metal issues are the second thing. And moreover, majority farmers doesn't have any reservoir facilities, sir. That is also one very, very bad situation I would like to express here. Because when you're directly pumping water during the culture due to high alkalinity or heavy metals or low pH or whatever it is, there is a high chances of algal crash is there, sir. High chances of algal crash. So this is the one of the most very poor management practices what we are doing in particularly I'm talking about the groundwater culture practices. There must be some reservoir facility or treatment facility to oxidize the groundwater. That is the most important, because we don't know, suddenly you are pumping the high alkalinities, there is a chance of algal crash issues happens. And every time what we observed after 45 days or 50 days, definitely you have some anaerobic formations, anaerobic zone formation with different zones, not only particularly center. Some areas we have some even feeding zones also we have some anaerobic patches. This leads sudden mortality without our knowledge. So the thing is, definitely minimum we have to maintain a reservoir facility to oxidize our groundwaters. Even not only groundwater, if you want to do the regular culture, make it more sedimentation, sir. If you want to control, particularly I'm talking about EHP, you have to maintain more sedimentation tanks to reduce water sedimentations, particularly colloidal particles or settlement particles should be reduced in the sedimentations. So if you have more sedimentations, you will get the more purified water, and you can use just only filter system to take your water back into your systems. This will also helps to maintain proper balanced parameters and all, because most of the farmers are applying chlorine, so they have to wait at least 4 to 5 days. Again, you are failing to fill the water on regular basis. So this also leads to algal crash. Because this all I'm doing within a regular practices and observing these things only, I'm talking about these issues. The dilution is very, very important, sir. But if you are diluted without proper treated water, definitely you have some issues. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for adding that, Vijay. I appreciate it. How about we keep it rolling with you, Vijay? You had some thoughts about this when we were talking about these questions earlier, the nitrate fertilizers.
The same topic, sir. During the anaerobic process, some kind of microbes can take the oxygen from the different sources like sulfates. That means 4 oxygens in the sulfates, nitrates, 3 oxygens in the nitrates, and the carbon dioxide, 2 oxygens in the carbon dioxide. But the process, when you are doing the process, the byproducts of the sulfates is sulfide. Definitely that will makes you hydrogen sulfide. But nitrate is more comparatively other than things is nitrate is somewhat better than the others, sir. And the second is nitrate fertilizers, particularly sodium nitrate. It acts as a oxidizing layer in the pond bottoms with controlling the phosphate. If we are applying the sodium nitrate, they control the phosphates that also most vulnerable for the planktons. So if you are applying the sodium nitrate during the pond preparation, you apply the sodium nitrate, plow it, then you are pumping the water. You have some good oxidizing layer throughout the crop with the sodium nitrate. So this will help you to control the phosphates, and automatically once the phosphates will be controlled, your plankton will be controlled. If there is no phosphates are controlled, immediately the uptake by the plankton, their blooms will be grow high. So nitrate, for particularly sodium nitrate, is more advantage compared to the other fertilizers. Sir. This is this article was almost 1983 to 84. Dr. Boyce has written this article on sodium nitrate fertilizers. Particularly sodium nitrate is very, very useful for the bottom thick. Some oxidation layer we can maintain in the bottoms.
Got it. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much for that. Gary, how about we move back over to your side with any standard minerals and additives or thoughts on this, advice on this for people putting stuff in their ponds?
Yeah, I think for the minerals, right, additives, right, like let's say the minerals, let's talk about the minerals. The sufficiency of minerals is really depend on so many things, right? For example, let me take this analogy, right? First, if you have 10 breads on your tables, it's going to be sufficient for 10 people. But 10 breads is a lot of breads. But you put 50 people, it's not going to be enough, right? So it really depends on who consume the minerals and additives, right? For me, sometimes I don't put any minerals, right? If I stocking in a very safe stocking levels. First, look at the availability of the minerals. For example, that we check the hardness, right? Sometimes I check also the micro minerals. I bring it to the laboratorium and see if it's already sufficient in the waters and in the balanced volume, right? So I need to check whether the one who consume these minerals is it too much, or is it just nice, or is it not so much? So we can determine whether we need to inject the minerals. For me, somehow, if you want to put minerals in the waters, right? Let's see. You have to do some prediction whether your availability of minerals in your pond already sufficient. Sufficient meaning, again, the availability versus the consumers. You need to think about this, right? But I do use minerals, right? In my additive, I'm using the chelated minerals. I put some on my feed, right? During the molting period. So it could, what I expect, it could support the molting period and sufficiency of the minerals. And any other additive that I put, any other additive that I put in the ponds is really based on the needs of my stream. For examples, when we see like a spike on the Vibrio in the gut, when we bring to the laboratorium. The only way that I can manage this, I put more probiotic on the gut. I use the probiotic for the gut and check after 5 days whether there is a decrease or it remains on the same state, right? So don't be lazy to check on your stream and on your water. So avoid that you want to offer inject your pond with anything. Somehow it doesn't work, right? Somehow it works with cost. So check everything you want to check and know exactly what you want to put on your pond and on your stream. You have to know exactly. It's like a sniper. You have a specific target, unless you just throwing money into your ponds, right? So be very careful on putting any injection on your to your pond and to your stream, right? But I use chelated minerals, I use antioxidants, and I use probiotic if required, right? No, how do you know if it's required? You need to check. Somehow you need to check to laboratorium. But for me, I'm lucky that I get support from the feed mills. They provide us with a very good laboratorium for free, so we can check on a weekly basis. So that's my suggestion, Robert.
Thanks, Gary. Okay, last question we have on farming practices: differential conversion and size variation in hatchery and stunted growth in the farm. Gary, maybe you want to talk a little bit about this. I don't know if you've experienced any of this maybe in the past, or you've had neighbors who may have. You can reach back and account for.
Okay, about the size variation, right? Specifically for API, right? I am stocking variously from the PL8 to PL13, right? Bigger the PLs, the size variation on the PLs seems more obvious, but based on my experience, the size variation will be gone without issue like ESP or white fecal disease. Without issue of that, the size variation will be gone when the stream hit 8 to 10 grams. So like in the last crop, we harvest around 50 tons. The small stream that got sorted by the buyer is less than 100 kilograms. So it shows how the size variation is not very significant using API. I use high figure, even stronger, right? Stronger sometimes show more appearance of the size variation, but in fact, when we do the harvest, it's less than 0.5% of the size variation. Very small, very small. But let's think about this. If you have an issue EHP, if you have an issue of a white fecal disease, your water parameter is not really good, it will impact some of your stream. Yes, the size variation will show up during the harvest, right? But on the PLs, I think PLs 8, PLs 9, the size variation is not so obvious. But if you stock PLs 13 up, yes, it's more obvious. But don't be afraid, right? Because in the harvest, if no issue, you will see very low size variation, very low.
All right.
So
Vijay,
here with
how
the
about-
just, I'm going to add some topics on the minerals and these things, just because.
Perfect.
So generally, the minerals, generally what we are generally using the minerals are divalent cations like calcium, magnesium, and all. Actually, according to your profile, suppose your shrimp does require calcium for the shell formation and magnesium for the metabolic activity and potassium also some metabolic activity. But excess minerals sometimes makes you mineral mortality also, because generally in the cation exchange capacity happens when the colloidal particles generally they have the anions like negative charge anions like aluminum, ferrous like this. When you have the excess divalent cations, definitely they will be replaced by the anions will be replaced with the cations, and they're directly injected into the water bodies, and that makes sometimes more alkaline or more what you called acidic natures in the system. So excess minerals also sometimes more danger for the system. And particularly the right way you have to select the minerals is mostly you have to prefer the chloride basis, not the sulfate basis. Because if you have more sulfates like calcium sulfate or magnesium sulfates, definitely after sometimes these sulfates will be utilized by some kind of microbes, and then immediately they can produce sulfide and immediately they convert into hydrogen sulfide. So the way you have to select the minerals depends on your profile. If you every salinity point, generally calcium requires 15 and magnesium requires 39. Like that balance, we have to select. If the low salinity is also, if you go with the high mineral applications, also sometimes more danger. So you have to choose your go with the right analysis, identify your mineral profile. According to that, you choose your minerals. Otherwise, don't go blindly, like weekly, Tuesday calcium, Wednesday magnesium, like that. Don't go with that particular practices. That is also more danger for the systems. That's it, sir.
Great. Thank you very much, Vijay. Okay, so these were the last
I would like-
questions that these were the last questions that we had submitted.
I would like to add some
So
points
what
to
I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, of course, no worries. Let me stop sharing my screen so I can
Sir,
see everyone
actually,
first, and
facing
then
a-
yes, Dr. Aswani.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Actually, we are facing a lot of mineral bioavailability problem in high alkalinity areas in coastal Andhra Pradesh, sir, where we are pumping water from groundwater sources. There, the availability of, like Vijay Kumar sir said, we are recommending chlorides, even though during the molting periods, we are facing heavy mortalities and with the, because of this mineral bioavailability, absorption capability, and also vibriosis problems in high salinity, sir. Like see, 350 to 600, we are facing high salinity, high alkalinity areas. I would like to add some genetical improvements to this problem, sir.
Sure. Yeah, Vijay, maybe you want to help address
Yes,
some
sir.
of this.
Generally, sir, this Vibrio and all definitely not particularly. If you can take any kind of genetics, sir, not only API, you can take some other genetical companies, brood companies are there. Everybody has the issues. Not only particularly one particular brood star has these issues. Every brood has the issues because of it's the system default, sir, not the animal default. System default. Because once your system get disturbed, definitely anything can happen in the system. Because 100% we cannot make genetically to control white spot. 100% we can control vibriosis, white feces, and all. Because your spawn condition is the more important for the any kind of animal. That is important. So generally, high salinity areas, particularly. Same issue, sir. Generally, if you take this high salinity areas, seawater has high sulfate issues. Correct, sir? Because sea salinity has high sulfates. So definitely after certain particular period, like 45 days, your pond bottoms has the issue of entropic zones because 90% of Indian shrimp farmers doesn't have shrimp toilet systems. Sir. That is the biggest problem for it. How you have to control your sludge? That means it's nothing but you are making more your pond more than 30 to 40%. You are making more your pond as a anaerobic pathway. That anaerobic pathway can create anything in the systems, either in the toxins, either in the pathogens. Either some protozoans, gregarines, bacteria, whatever it is will happens, develops on the anaerobic ways. So that's why I'm telling, sir, we are practicing like in a blind way we are practicing. We are not taking care of how we have to handle the sludge. Because many people say we don't have the water exchange facilities. At least we have to do water exchange facilities means, sir, our reservoir is not ready with chlorine. Or we cannot pump directly water. Somebody has released water in the outside. Shrimp does not want all these things, sir. Shrimp does require its own what it is comfortableness. Its own comfortableness. Shrimps always requires own though they doesn't want farmer excuses. Many farmers telling that I have no reservoir system, so I cannot pump water directly. Shrimp doesn't care, sir. Doesn't care. You can say not only API, take any kind of brood, any kind of in the world. Every brood has the same issue. We have the white fishes issue with SAS. We have a white fishes with Sayakwa, and we have white spot issue with SAS. The growth and all, if the system is good, comfortable, definitely that time these brood genetics might be helpful. But if a system is not helpful, definitely you cannot manage.
Thank
Any
you for that,
questions, sir?
BJ.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Sir.
Great. Okay, well, we do have about 18 minutes left in this scheduled call. So if there's any other questions, raise your hands and we can address them. If not, that is all the information we have prepared for you all today. So I'd just like to say quickly, thank you all for attending. I think that this is something that we're going to try and do more and more often for India, but also around Asia. And so when we do hold these events, of course, you're more than welcome to join no matter where you are. And let's see, we have a hand raised from our meeting guest. Please go ahead. And
Yeah,
I would call you by your name. I don't know. Please. Are you there, sir?
Robert, is someone
Meeting?
speaking?
I don't believe so. He's got his hand raised. He's just listed as meeting guest, or I would address him by his name.
A couple of insights from my side.
Yeah, please.
I greatly thank your initiative to make this visible, and it should have attracted a larger audience, especially
Mhm.
guys from hatcheries, the ones who handle sessions like LRT, the ones who handle brooders, and then a wider range of audience. Even the shrimp farmers would have greatly gained from this insights, especially when Vijay Kumar has emphasized on the, to say in one word, biosecurity, the necessity for shrimp toilet. And thank you, Vijay Kumar, for citing most authentic papers. The one which is like long forgotten, the one from Boyd and all. Okay, those were kind of bibles in shrimp farming, to
Yes, sir.
maintain water quality parameters at large. You see, uh,
Yes, sir.
and those were not given enough like enough readings by far. See, the recently one vivid book written on a large scale, the one from Yoram about the biofloc, the chapters, Indian chapter, Asian chapter. Uh, the papers which were penned by Whitener himself in disease management about vibriosis. So these need to be read. These need to be read, and those need to be followed. Shrimp toilet concept actually ensures almost 70% of the shrimp farming to get out of those sediment and benthic communal problems. You see, that is where you protect the crop. Eh? And it's I like the organizers to force a little on marketing of this issue. Like, you should have brought them into Instagrams, you should have brought them into Facebook. And I got the link. I would say the source. I was part of that AP technicians group. There was a WhatsApp group. I have seen this advertisement, and I checked in with the link to happen to understand what's going on. And I ended up having some good insights, especially the one with that colloidal particle nature and cation exchange capacity. He has beautifully penned upon the problems of over mineralization. you know that's how it is happening in India. It somehow or other, we technicians are kind of responsible for this SOPs the farmers are going on today. Like every week, certain kind of mineral, every day, one kind of micro mineral, major mineral, and all. No shame in admitting it, but the over math was not looked forward. It has been there from ages. Farmers are cultivated. Now I say water is fertile, soil is fertile. You don't have to add this much mineral. It is actually giving you eutrophication. So, guys, farmers are almost, they are streamlined in such a way. If that is not happening, they are gonna lose the crop, or they are gonna reduce their productivity. You see. So those insights and your presentation, you can share that presentation. I don't think there is internal research content with your presentation. Those were generalized. So you can share those presentation with the PowerPoint. No, in the American whatever groups we have, the technician groups, it has to reach the farmers and the insights as well. So try to boost up, if you're not taking pain to organize such conference, and let them know the technical aspects. It's not just advertising of some company. You have taken pain to get some technical insights which are at large gonna benefit the shrimp community. You know, the farmer fraternity would have got a few other insights that are helpful for the farming if they were at this seminar. That's what I believe. So make it more visible when you make the next conference. Yeah. Am I audible here? Hello?
Yeah, no, you absolutely. I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. And I do appreciate all the feedback that you're providing. This is exactly why we're doing it. We're able to go around Asia and see how everything is going.
Mm.
But oftentimes I'm seeing that the information doesn't get spread throughout the value chain. And that's really where this idea
It's
stemmed
not
from,
that
right?
difficult, Robert. One insight
Yeah.
I would give is, see, the large community that you are addressing in India, you see 70 to 75% of shrimp input, of fish input is coming from low saline crops like East Western Krishna, especially from Andhra Pradesh. Okay.
Mhm.
And that farmer fraternity is more kind of uh, comfortable with the native language. Vijay is an
Sure.
excellent communicator, as I witnessed. He's from Andhra background, right? Vijay Kumar Kallepalli is purely Andhra. He can converse these things clearly in Telugu. The trick you have missed is, if you have made the invitation and the contents visible in Telugu language, you could have attracted a few more audience. I trust me, farmers from our place are they have a very patient ear. You would have
Mhm.
poured up with questions regarding microsporidiosis, regarding the WSSV. If at all there were right audience at the place. Okay. You just did not make it visible in Telugu. Do you get me?
I hear
You
you.
say
I hear you.
these are my insights. It's not American Pinide or some X or Y company advertising their brood stock. Like that is a commercial interest that is always there. But instead, the motto of presenting this to the wider range of audience is to upbring the technical insights. Okay, you place that, and you leave a wider gap for audience to give you question and answer section, FAQ. Okay, at the end, you can ask the questions. You can get the insights both from farming end and hatchery end. You can make a section. Just you include, we give you insights about selecting the post larvae. That one single point would have brought a hell lot of audience here. There is still a
Mhm.
lot of confusion over it. Okay,
Yeah.
so
No, no,
next
of
time you
course.
do this, you have a translator with you. You make it visible in Telugu language. You share it in different groups, as many groups as possible. What, it's a couple of thousands in Indian rupees that you need to pay for Instagram to boost your advertisement. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's not at all brainstorming to attract audience. Just make it clear and visible. Okay, so that farmer fraternity at large would get benefited with your insights, apart from whatever your technical contents are available.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Dirk Prasad, I think you're trying to say something. Are you're muted though. Dirk Prasad, you're muted. Um, but yeah, I agree 100%, right? This is our second time doing this. We do have more people on this call than we did the first time. And we are going to continue growing it. It's just repetitions, and we are going to continue spreading the word. But I'm very happy to hear that you did gain something from this, that you came in with a different thought process on how it would go, and you're walking away with something different and seeing that this is something that can benefit farmers. So when we are again going to hold this for Indian farmers, and we hold it for Indonesia and Thailand and Vietnam, we will be sending out the messaging again. And I hope that now you have a little bit more confidence to send it to your farmers and your contacts and say, hey, this is something where a lot of good information is shared and it's worthwhile to be on the call. And that's really what we're trying to get this to the point to. And we have great speakers like Vijay, and Gary has done an amazing job presenting. And I couldn't be more happy to be working with those guys on that. And of course, Zerg Rasad and Barry are here to support as well. I think that this is the beginning of a series that will only continue to grow and get better. And the next time we
Just
have
want
it for
to add
India,
some
I think we'll see
one
that.
small point, sir. Don't mind. I would like to add some
Please.
small point.
Please.
Yeah, regarding Mr. Vivekanand Babu explained about the biofloc, regarding the biofloc. So in the world, there is no proper evidence on biofloc shrimp success in the world, sir. First of all, particularly I'm talking about shrimp biofloc. It does works against fish or something, but when you're talking about the commercial way, shrimp does not works in the biofloc systems, because it's very, very tough to maintain the other parameters with the biofloc system in the shrimp culture.
We actually we use biofloc in our facility back in Florida. So you're right, it is a little bit difficult to manage and keep under control, but if you have the proper systems in place, it's something that, you just have to keep tabs on and keep monitoring. And it's definitely not the solution for every farmer out there. But if you're able to really, give yourself, set yourself up for success with it, it is a viable solution. That's what I'll say on that. So we have you see a hand up from our meeting guest still. Do you have a note that you'd like to add?
Yeah. Good afternoon. This is Balaraman. I need one small information from you. Is there any difference of health of the PLs which has been produced from the ablated and non-ablated stocks?
Ablated versus non-ablated. Well, of course, it depends where you are in the value chain, right? If you're selling to the EU, there's going to be a lot more issues and flags raised when it comes to, is this animal ablated or is it not? But maybe someone else from our team would like to help answer that. Maybe Dirk Prasad or Barry. What are we seeing on our ends with that?
All right. We have some experience in Indonesia years before that few of customers try to non-ablate and try to ablate and see the result. First, on the hatchery side, non-ablate, yes, you can use the brood stock longer rather than ablated one. But we see commonly, but this is the data is not so, it's not so firm yet, but we see one of our customer in Sulawesi Island that we see the quality, the strength of the PL between ablate and non-ablate. It's only we see the first 2 months. After 2 months, the quality or the strength at the PL at the ponds remaining same between ablate and non-ablate. And then, we know this is an issue of the doing good with the shrimp. When you cut the eye, and then it seems that the environmental peoples like NGO would like to address it, but we will see. But so far, when the customer try the hatchery, they do not show big difference. They back to ablate again. So that is the information that I got. But I know that the study showing in the lab, they see that the ablated and non-ablated, the non-ablated is stronger. But we see the fact in my experience in Indonesia that some my customer is different. It's only the conclusion is only 2 months. In the early 2 months, that they showing it is true that better strength, but after 2 months of third month, fourth month, is keep remaining the same. I think it is Robert that my information that I get experience in Indonesia.
Great. Thank you for sharing, Barry. Okay, we have about 4 minutes left. So last call on
Thank you, Mr.
questions
Balram,
for
sir,
anyone.
visiting our Hyderabad project.
Sorry, BJ, do you have a note to add?
Mr. Balram, sir. Hello.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Durga Prasad. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like I said, 4 minutes left. I'll throw this slide up as well, so you guys can have Durga Prasad's and I's contact information. It's in the bottom of the email that we sent out as well, but I will just make sure that it's up here. So everyone can see that, right? Durga Prasad looks great, per usual. Great. So, like I said, if there's any other questions, please feel free to chime in. But that is the end of our session for today. If anything else comes up after the session, please feel free to reach out. We will absolutely be taking this video and sending it out to everyone who did reply to the sign up. And you'll be able to share that amongst your groups as well. And of course, we'll be putting it in our API India group chat as well. So a lot of you will be able to see it there. One more time, I wanted to sincerely thank Gary and Vijay for helping organize and present this today. They have a lot of really, really good information, a lot of really interesting takes and perspectives. So I just wanted to thank all those guys. And of course, my team, Durga Prasad and Barry, thank you both again for helping out with this. That is it from all of us, though. So I will stop the recording. And like I said, if there's anything else that you guys would like addressed in either the next seminar, and please just reach out. We will be doing this series throughout Asia, and we will be sending out the messaging when we have those dates confirmed. So again, thank you very much for everyone for attending. I do appreciate it. And hopefully the next time we will have a larger group and keep spreading that information. So thank you all.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Robert, and
Thank you all.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. All right, I'll make another call, Durga Prasad, Barry, with Vijay and
Yeah.
Barry on it, okay?
Yeah, maybe by WhatsApp. I have to go, I'm actually at Windows Segara Hatchery. They're
Okay.
waiting for me for lunch, and then maybe we can do by WhatsApp. I have to go to the restaurant.
Okay, no worries then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll reconnect then and we'll loop in.
All right. Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
Bye. Great job.
Yes, great job, everyone.